You know, when we're thinking about detox and we're thinking about toxic relationships and toxic people, one of the things that I think we fail to realize is that toxicity in a relationship may actually be coming from us. I know, right? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about how you can really determine whether or not you may be the contributing factor to toxicity in your relationship with family, with loved ones, as well as significant others. So if you're ready, just like how I am, let's get into it of this week's episode of Tactic Thursday with Wayineers. Let's get into it. I'm DC Howard. If you want to know more about me as well as this company, click on the link above to be able to get more information. But you're here once again to be able to understand, which is part 2 of our DeTox series, where we've been able to discuss when it comes down to the root causes of toxic relationships, as well as also today, we're going to be talking about how you may be the contributing factor when it comes to toxicity in relationships with family, with, if you will, loved ones, and even possibly your significant other. And so what made me think about this particular topic is that I think about the relationships that I've had in my life, whether it be with family members, whether it be with loved ones, whether it be with significant others, and of course, right now with my wife. And I really have to think about when I say that a relationship was toxic, in which here, if you will, going back to the definition that we talked about on last week, and even before we go any further, if you want to actually catch part 1 of this detox series, click in the link above as you're going to be able to see part 1 of the detox series where we talked about a few things. I'm going to review a little bit here, but I want to be able to make sure that you're able to see that as well. Is that when it comes to being toxic, toxic is, if you will, poisonous material that is capable of causing death or serious debilitation. Once again, toxic is defined as poisonous material capable of causing death or serious debilitation. And of course, death, we're not exactly meaning the literal sense when it comes to physicality, but it could be death of a relationship. It could be death of trust. It could be death of, if you will, a particular ability that you had within that relationship, with that family member, with that loved one, with those, if you will, with that significant other, or serious debilitation. So meaning where you may have a situation where now there used to be the ability to, for instance, let's say it's a loved one, let's say it's a friend, and that because a friend has been toxic with, let's say, your vehicle, utilizing your vehicle, now the ability to have that friend be able to use your car is no longer a thing anymore. It may be serious debilitation to that capacity. So on today, I want to be able to talk about 4 tactics. Once again, 4 tactics, or if you will, 4 things that you need to think about when it comes to whether or not you, yes, you may actually be the contributing factor to toxicity in a relationship with, once again, a family member, a loved one, or even, if you will, your significant other. And it all is based upon the feet principle. I've actually, if you've ever been in a coaching session with me, or if you've ever been around me for an extended period of time when it comes to Wayineers, is I've introduced this principle. And if you actually go back, in which I'll actually talk about another link, if you will, take a look above, is that I actually did a series about managing your priorities, or being able to set your priorities, and I introduced the feet principle here. Well, that same principle is is actually applicable when it comes to determining whether or not you, in fact, are the toxic individual in a relationship. And so it all goes back to the feet principle, which is 4 things. And so that is finances, that's energy, that's effort, and then that is time. Once again, it's going to be finances, energy, effort, and time. All right? So let's break each one of those down when it comes to how you may be toxic in a relationship. So number 1 is that you may be either very controlling or very demanding when it comes to finances. Once again, the fact of the matter is that how you're able to determine whether or not you in fact are the toxic one when it comes to a relationship is that you are very controlling and or demanding when it comes to finances. So let's give an example. Let's say, for instance, that you are a young person, you are a millennial, you may be just an adult for that matter, and that you are living in someone else's house. Let's say that you're living in someone else's house, whether it be that you're living with an older parent or an authority figure, whether you're living with a roommate, whether you're living with someone that possibly, well, let's even go even further. Let's say that you are married and you're living with your spouse. Well, if you're the individual that you're constantly making demands on how, if you will, the collective money in the household should be spent, and or are not willing to actually provide money towards the collective household, that is a possibility that you may actually be toxic. So, for instance, even as a millennial, if you're living with, for instance, a family member or a significant other or living with a roommate or whatnot, is that what is a quality relationship, meaning it's equal amount of give and equal amount of take, is that you're providing something to the scenario when it comes to finances. So you may not be able to pay the full rent, but you're able to pay half the rent if you're in a roommate scenario. You may not be the individual that pays the rent or pays the mortgage, but you are able to contribute when it comes to groceries or being able to provide the entertainment, things of that sort within your household. You may not be able to provide for those particular matters, but let's say that you are a really good cook or you're able to handle domestic affairs such as cooking and cleaning and all the types of things that go around the house, around the apartment, or wherever the domicile that you may have. That's how you're able to contribute in a relationship. And if you're not doing those things, there's a possibility that you may actually be toxic. And please know very much so that I'm not exempt from this as well. So just as how I'm giving this, if you will, coaching strategies, I have to remember these things as well, and making sure that I'm doing my very best in my own household as a married man, that I'm providing not only financially, but also that I'm making sure that I'm being very deliberate about how I utilize my finances so that they're a help, not a hindrance to my household. So number one, when it comes to the potential of you being toxic in a relationship with family members, with loved ones, or with a significant other, is that you may be controlling and or demanding when it comes down to the finances. All right? So point number two, or if you will, consideration number two, when it comes to the fact that you may be the toxic one when it comes down to relationships, is that you are either very much so demanding in the energy that's given in the relationship, or that you are very, very tightly secure about how you provide energy in a relationship. And just to be able to break that down even more is interchange the word energy for emotions. So for instance, for my millennials and my Gen Z, you understand energy when it comes to energy, vibes, that whole context. For my Generation X and above, you may understand energy more as emotions. So for instance, that either you are the individual demanding a certain type of emotion in a relationship, or you're the individual that is very secure and very, if you will, closed off when it comes to your emotions in a relationship. So let's give some examples of that. So if you are a man, I'm a man as well, you have been probably told most of your life that it is not good that you show your energy, or interchange that word, show your emotions. Well, I'm here to tell you straight up. And so for all of our ladies here that are listening and watching right now, you can show this to a guy that's in your life. Gentlemen, it is perfectly fine. In fact, it is actually better for you to be able to display your energy, display your emotions in a natural way that's not just anger or, if you will, sexual frustration. Just putting that out there, keeping it real, because I want to be able to help you guys out. When you only show anger and potential sexual frustration when it comes to your actual energy and your emotions as gentlemen, it makes you very, very one-dimensional. And especially for our ladies, and even for guys that are hanging around you, that's not something that guys want to be around. That's not something that ladies want to be around. And so therefore, you want to be very deliberate. And of course, I'm not saying you have to be an open book to the point to where you're oversharing when it comes to your emotions or your energy, but being able to let people know where you are in a particular moment. So for instance, let's say that you're a gentleman, you were looking for a promotion, you've done a certain amount of work at a job, and now you find out that you didn't get that promotion. It's okay to have that conversation with your friends. It's okay to have that conversation with your significant other. It's okay to have that conversation with your family member that, hey, I'm a little bit bummed right now because I didn't get that promotion. I didn't get that particular position that I was looking for. That's natural. That's healthy. That's non-toxic. But to sit there and hold that frustration in and then lash it out in anger towards, for instance, an aunt or a cousin or a sibling, or towards your significant other, or towards, if you will, a friend, because you still had that pent-up anger, that's not cool. Congratulations. That's toxic. I know, right? That's actually toxic. And please know, gentlemen, you can reverse the same scenario for our ladies as well when it comes to things that may have frustrated you or disappointed to you. It's not fair to sit there and hold all of that in or to extremely lash out. in that same scenario to a gentleman that's in your life, because ultimately you want to make sure that you're not being toxic, all right? So we've talked about potential issues when it comes to finances. We've talked about potential issues when it comes to energy, or you can interchange that word for emotions. So now let's look at, if you will, strategy number 3. Strategy number 3 is the fact of the matter that you may be very much so either unwilling or too willing to give effort in that relationship. Once again, point number 3 about how you may be toxic when it comes to a particular relationship, whether that's family, whether that's friends, whether that's if you will, a significant other, is that you may be either too willing or too unwilling to provide effort in that relationship. So let's give an example. 2 opposite ends of the spectrum, all right? Now, I know this was my life actually about a decade ago, in which I'm still great associates with this individual, but nevertheless, to give the example, is that you may have an individual that you are doing everything in the relationship, meaning you're the one that's always listening to the conversations. You're the one that's always providing the financial resources in the relationship. You're always the one that's going the extra mile in order to make sure this person feels comfortable and confident in who they are, but you never get anything in return. Congratulations, you're actually toxic. You're toxic for that because you're being too willing to put so much in that relationship. And then here's on the other side of the spectrum. The other side of the spectrum is that you're in a relationship. Possibly you're a significant other, possibly you're a friend, possibly you're a family member, that you're constantly looking for the other individual to make the phone calls, the other individual to actually reach out via text message, the other individual to plan everything that you guys are going to do in your relationship. Well, congratulations. That's toxic, because once again, a quality relationship is equal amount of give and equal amount of take. And so anytime that you're being too willing to do things in a relationship, or that you're being too unwilling to do things in a relationship, is a sign of toxicity on your part. And so therefore you have to kind of even that out and come to the middle, to where there are times that you are willing to do things, and then there are times where you're expecting your other party to be able to do things as well. And trust me, it is okay to have someone else do things sometimes, and also it is okay if you actually are the one to do things at times as well. All right, so we've covered almost 3 of the 4 that we talked about. Of course, strategy number 1 is the fact that you may be either overly demanding and or you may be very tight when it comes to finances. Strategy number 2 is understanding that you may be, if you will, very, very tight-lipped or tight about your emotions, or you're the one that's not really willing to, you want to control the narrative around emotions or energy. Strategy point number 3, that we said either you're too willing or too unwilling to be able to provide effort when it comes to a relationship. And then strategy number 4 about how you should realize that you may be the toxic one in a relationship is the fact of the matter that you are likened to, if you will, strategy point number 3, too willing or too unwilling to be able to provide your time. This is something that I say, and you'll hear it actually even further in this video, is that time is the most valuable, non-renewable resource that we have. Once again, time is the most valuable, non-renewable resource that we have. For instance, right now, I'm so blessed and thankful that you're taking your time to be able to listen to me right now. And so the issue is that we can be at, if you will, opposite sides or 2 extremes of the spectrum. In the fact that, and I'll say this, especially for our significant others here on this particular video, if you find that you're the one always having to, if you will, make your time out for your significant other, or you're the one that's never making time out for your significant other, that's a telltale sign that it may be toxic and you may be toxic. Yes, I know that's very difficult, but once again, as I said, I've been dealing with this myself over the years as well. So this is a real good gut check for me of life lessons that I've learned. And so once again, like into point number 3 with effort, you want to be somewhere in the middle, and that there are times where you're willing to devote extra time to your family member, to your friends, to your significant other, to your spouse. But then there are other times that that spouse, that significant other, those friends, that family member, that they need to be willing to give up time on your behalf as well. Because once again, quality relationships, healthy non-toxic relationships are equal amount of give as well as equal amount of take. So here we have it. These are 4 patented ways that you can tell whether or not you, yes, you, are the toxic, if you will, factor in a relationship. Is being able to understand how are you, if you will, utilizing your finances when it comes to that relationship. How are you utilizing the, if you will, not effort, but energy and or emotions in your relationship? How are you utilizing your energy in that relationship? And how are you utilizing your time in that relationship? Which is the infamous feet principle that I talked about. If you will, stay tuned for a little bit more information on how you can get even more help when it comes to making sure that you're not the toxic one. And let me add this before I end here, is the fact of the matter that we all have been toxic, at least for a short period of time in relationships, because we're all imperfect. But the way we go about becoming untoxic is a very simple 2-step process that we're going to talk about in our next couple of videos here with Wayineers. So once again, stay tuned so you can get more information on how you can understand how and whether or not you're toxic in a relationship. Hey everybody, this is DC Howard, founder and principal coach of Wayineers, the care coach that's career and relationship excellence for the millennial, especially our Black millennials. Listen, we are excited to be able to premiere some brand new things just for you, in the fact that we're going to now have on our website, www.wayineers.com, a new resources section where you're going to be able to download free as well as also some paid resources that'll be just for you when it comes to being able to, if you will, further enhance our Tactic Thursdays. We're also going to premiere a members area where just for a very, very cheap fee that you can be able to connect with me, be able to get exclusive, that's right, exclusive content that won't be anywhere else, as well as also practical resources to be able to make sure that you're excellent in your career and your relationships. Once again, if you want to be able to access that, go to our website, www.wayineers.com. Thank you so very much for watching this video. And here are a quick 6 things that I would like for you to do after now watching this video. Number 1, if you really enjoyed the content that you saw today, be able to click a thumbs up to be able to like and support this particular video as well as our channel. Number 2, in the comment section, type some comments about what you liked about this video, as well as also if there are particular things that you would like for us to talk more about or be able to share more about in future videos that we have. Number 3, go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Go ahead and subscribe to us so you can be a part of our total Wayineers network that we're able to have all across the world. Number 4, click on that get notifications bell so you, yes, you are the very first individual to be able to know about the fresh new content that we deliver each and every single week. Number 5, follow us on social media. We're on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube, all with the handle @Wayineers. And then number 6, look in our description. Once again, look in our description and you can book a session with us. You can have a session with us here at Wayineers and myself, DC Howard, founder and principal coach, master certified life coach, and the care coach that stands for career and relationship excellence coach for the millennial and specifically our Black millennials, where you can be able to get a absolutely free 30-minute exploratory session, as well as also we have session plans that are available for you, and we want to be able to connect with you. So look in our description. Go ahead and go to our website, which is wayineers.com. It's in the description, so click on that as well. Thank you all so very much. Time is the most valuable non-renewable resource, and so we truly appreciate that you spent that time with us here today. And once again, we here at Wayineers want to make sure you reach your destination of success by letting us help you calculate your route. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing and speaking with you soon.